Manchester United drew 2-2 with Barcelona, tying in the first leg of the Europa League in Barcelona, in Spain. And I'm just going to get straight into it. I love the progress I've seen in the first year with Erik Ten Hag. And I think what we saw in the game today is really paints the picture of how good of a job he's done in his first year as manager. I mean, let's just look at what the lineup looked like last time Manchester United played in Barcelona. That was back in 2019. That was in the Champions League. That was when we got knocked out and lost 3-0 in Barcelona. Only 3 players that were in that squad played today, or at the very least started today. That being Marcus Rashford, obviously, Fred, and David De Gea. You had Lindelof, who's still on the team, but you had Smalling, who's gone. You had Ashley Young, who's gone. You had Pogba, who's gone. You had McTominay, that should be gone. Lingard, who's gone, and Anthony Martial, who's been dealing with injuries off and on over the last few months. He's overhauled the team, brought in players, and some of those players didn't get to play today. He brought in Eriksen, who didn't get to play, who's had one of the best seasons from a Manchester United midfield in a long time. You bring Wout Weghorst in. I think he sucks. I think he's not a good player, but he's finding a way to make him useful because somebody has to play. He's playing him at center mid. He's playing him at right wing. He's playing him at striker. I don't think he's good at any of them, but he's trying to get the absolute most out of him as he possibly can. He's turned around Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's become at the very least capable possession right back. I'm not trusting him if the pressure's on, and we saw that ball came across the box and it was curling away from the goal, and he gets a bad play on it, and Jordi Alba, I believe it was, comes forward, gets a shot on goal. There was claims for penalty. Wan-Bissaka got a foot on that, so I think that was enough to not warrant a penalty. But Sancho, who knows what he's going to look like going forward, because he comes back, the mental break, and he got a goal in that first game against Newcastle. Didn't do a lot today. Didn't do a lot, but did enough. Playing Luke Shaw at center back. Who would have thought that would work as it has? And that gives you a lot of flexibility to then take Malacia off, bring in another attacker, bring in a midfield if necessary, and then move Luke Shaw over. I never would have imagined Luke Shaw as a center back. I know he's not the quickest of players. And when Romelu Lukaku posted the team's training numbers, and Luke Shaw was actually dead last in terms of the speed. But Varane, he had some shaky moments today, but I think he's still been impeccable this season. Played Bruno, and again, he was without Eriksen. He was out without Martinez, who picked up a yellow card, and it was out Sabitzer, who picked up 3 yellow cards playing with Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Going to Barcelona, going to the team that is first place in La Liga, and getting a 2-2 draw, and you could argue we deserve to win the ball game, and we obviously still have the home leg in Manchester. I think this just perfectly shows what we've seen from Erik Ten Hag in just the matter of a year. If you would have said that Manchester United is third place in the standings, 5 points off first, I believe. If you said Barcelona is like 9 points or something clear of Real Madrid for first place, and they're playing in a European tie, I'm assuming it's the Champions League. I'm assuming it's the Champions League quarter, possibly semi-final, possibly final itself, with the form these two teams have been in. I've been very critical of Barcelona. I think their management is absolutely horrible, selling off 50% of their TV deal money for the next 20 years just to sign a few players. I think they're very short-sighted, and that's what's gotten the problem that's led to them having to give up on Messi. Signing Griezmann to an $800,000 a week contract is baffling, and some of the other contracts they've handed out have also been baffling, but that's who they've been, and they're trying their best to succeed, and they have a lot of talent. What they have on the field is not the issue. How they've brought up Gavi, all these other young players they have in the team, that is not the issue. The way they've been run is the issue. I'm going a lot far away from the point. They still have a very good team. The product they've put out into the field is still very good and clearly top of La Liga, which is, it's a relatively weaker league, especially when compared to the Premier League. It's very competitive. Any given team looks like they can win any given game. To steal a little line from American football, any team can win any week, and that is true about the Premier League. But Manchester United developing under Erik Ten Hag, playing the system he wants to play, playing a little bit more with the ball than the counterattacking style that we saw with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And a lot of the same players are still in there and are adapting their games to it. Looking at Bruno Fernandes, he has to get more clean and tidy in possession with the ball, and he is pretty slow. That is something that we're seeing more and more is like how Frankie de Jong kind of ran from one side of the box all the way around to about like halfway between the halfway line and the goal. He got outpaced there pretty easily by Frankie de Jong, kind of, and if it wasn't for just being physical with him, gets run around there. But he has to be much more clinical with the ball. What he's done with Marcus freaking Rashford has been incredible, and he just can't stop scoring. He's got 22 goals now. He's now equaled his best ever scoring talent season, 22 goals. That was back in the 2019 season. It's only February. It's only February. Marcus Rashford still has a lot to go, and he scored the most goals in the Premier League since the World Cup over Erling Haaland, and he's still got the rest of the season to go. He's scoring basically one goal every single game, and in the second goal, the own goal by Jules Koundé, played a pivotal role in that goal. That cross into the box is what set up, the awkwardness and bouncing off of Koundé to go into the back of the net. We are 1 point up 2-1 in Barcelona against the top team in La Liga. This is a team that was relegation bound after 2 games into the season, losing to Brighton and Brentford. Now, obviously, not ideal to lose to either of those 2 teams, but the seasons they've had, both in the top half of the table, those games aren't looking as bad. Brighton, I believe, is in 6th place in the Premier League, just behind Tottenham. Tottenham without Hugo Lloris and are currently crumbling. I can easily see them surpassing Tottenham. And Brentford, they've just continued to be Brentford. They've just continued to play their style, and it works. And there were a team that last year I thought was going to go right back down. And no, they're making themselves a Premier League team, a proper Premier League team, and are a very difficult side. So where at one point we were doomed for relegation has now turned into, oh, wait a minute, we're 5 points off first place. Arsenal's a game in hand. City, I believe, does or is level on points. Not level on points, level on games. Arsenal, City tied for top of the league. City has an on goal difference. We're 5 points back in February of first place in Premier League. We're in the final of the Carabao Cup. We are progressing in the FA Cup. We're 3rd place in the league, and we're here playing against Barcelona in the Europa League. A European tie is never a small matter, especially when you're playing against Barcelona. And to draw 2-2 going home, all you need to do is win by 1 goal. All you got to do is have Marcus Rashford just, find a way to get it in the back of the net, and you're through. You're through and probably winning the Europa League, because Barcelona probably is the biggest threat, the biggest competition. There's no other team that's first place in Europe of the serious teams, of the big 5 leagues in Europe, that are first place in their league that are in the Europa League, as far as I'm aware. You have that Barcelona. They're playing great football over in Spain. And argument can be made, we should have won that game today. I love the development I've seen over with Ten Hag, his system, his 4-2-3-1 that can adjust on the fly and have Weghorst play in midfield. You have Luke Shaw playing center back. You have Marcus Rashford banging in goals like it's a hobby for him. And things are only going to get better.